Welcome to the 17th hole of the Adventure Golf Unit. The 17th hole, we're going to start looking more in the third dimension. We're going to look at the volume of different shapes. Take a minute and copy the vocabulary. The volume is the number of cubic units needed to fill the space inside of a figure, or how much space something takes up. And now we are talking about those cubic units, or the small little cubes. A cubic unit is a cube with edges 1 unit long. If we are looking for volume, when we're looking for volume, we're trying to determine how many cubes fill up this rectangular prism. And if I look at just this face, if I stare at this face right here very closely, this is what you would see. And you can see that this face has a height of 4, and it is 1, 2, looks like 8 across. So this first layer that you see right here, this first layer would have 32 little cubes in it. And then there would be 1, 2, 3, 4 layers of 32. So I did 4 times 8 to find out there are 32 cubes in this first layer. And then I multiplied it by the number of layers. 32 times 4 tells me that there would be 128 cubes, units cubed, or little cubes, filling this space. So when I'm looking for the volume of a shape, I start out by finding the area of the base, and then I multiply it by the number of layers deep that base would be. If I look at this example actually has numbers now put with it and units. If I think about the bottom of this rectangular prism, and I'm going to draw these sides in, this bottom layer is 12 units wide and 5 units deep, which means it's 12 times 5. It has 60 cubes on the bottom. And then if it's 4 inches, that means that there would be 1, 2, 3, 4 layers of 60. So 12 times 5 is 60 times 4 would be 240 cubic inches. So I'm finding the number of cubes in one layer, and then multiplying by the number of layers, or base times, or length times width times height, with a rectangular prism. Same type of shape. This is 13 by 15. So 13 by 15 means that the bottom layer has 195 cubes. 13 times 15, and then I'm going to multiply. It's 9 layers thick, so times 9. This has a volume of 1755 cubic inches. In my calculator, I would simply punch in 15 times 13 to find the number of cubes on the bottom times the number of layers. When I have a cylinder, I'm going to do exactly the same thing. I'm going to look at this shape, and I'm going to find what the area of the base is, how many little squares it would take to cover this base, and then I'm going to see how many layers of those squares I would have. So in this case, my radius is 4, so I am simply going to do pi times my radius squared. That would tell me what the area of this is, and then I'm going to have 18 layers of that, so times 18. So the area of the base times the height, pi times 4 squared, and I have 18 layers of that, would be 904.78 cubic inches, which means that it would take 904.78 of these little 1 inch by 1 inch by 1 inch cubes to fill up this cylinder. Again, find the area of the base, multiply it by the height or number of layers. The volume of this cylinder, pi times my radius, which is half of the diameter, squared, and it is 17 layers thick. So area of the base times the height, pi times 10 squared, times 17. This would have a volume of 5,340.71 cubic inches. Find the area of the base, multiply it by the height. Here I have a triangular prism where my bases are triangles. So I'm going to find the area of the triangle, and I'm going to multiply it by how many layers thick I would have. So in this case, my triangle would be 6 times 8 divided by 2, base times height divided by 2, and in a right triangle, your base and height are the two legs that make up the right angle. 6 times 8 is 48, divided by 2 would be 24, and then I would have how many layers of 24? I would have 4 layers, 1, 2, 3, 4 layers, which would equal 96 cubic inches. So again, in summary, when I'm looking for the volume, I'll skip for just a second. One more example. This is, I believe, the last example. Triangular prism again. My base is 14, my height is 10. 14 times 10 divided by 2. And then I'm going to multiply it by the number of layers I would have, which would be times 11 layers. Times 11, that would be my thickness of this prism, or height of this prism. And 14 times 10 divided by 2 is 70. And then 70 times 11 would be 770. So my volume here would be 770 cubic inches. Found the area of my triangle and multiplied it by the height of my prism, or how many layers thick that triangle would be. The volume of any prism or cylinder can be found by finding the area of the base and multiplying by the height of the solid. So I'm going to look at this solid, I'm going to find the base. I'm going to find the area of the base. I'm going to take that area and multiply it by the height of the solid. You're now ready to get online and print out the 17th hole scorecard.